Not sure if you saw it, but Vin Diesel just shared a storyboard slide for Riddick 4. Plus, he's also teased some new power-ups for Riddick, including the Furian energy wave from the comics. Oh, and it turns out Riddick 4 is skipping a movie in the timeline. So here's everything we know about the movie so far. Riddick Furya is officially in the works, and the long-awaited sequel to the Vin Diesel sci-fi franchise is finally underway. The first three movies, Pitch Black, The Chronicles of Riddick, and Riddick, have developed a loyal fan base over the years. Riddick, introduced as a dangerous criminal being transported to a prison on a distant planet, quickly became an iconic character after surviving a crash landing on a monster-filled world using his unique skills. The Riddick franchise is one of Vin Diesel's most loved, especially thanks to his collaboration with writer-director David Twohy on all three films. Now, both are returning for Riddick Furya, which will finally dive into the backstory of Riddick's character. While the release is still a bit down the road, fans have a lot to look forward to, and the wait seems like it'll be worth it. Just days after filming began for the long-awaited sequel, Vin Diesel has shared some exciting behind-the-scenes photos from the set of Riddick Furya. The star posted a picture on his official Instagram showing himself as Riddick behind the wheel of a dune buggy, driving through a desert. With him in the vehicle is a camera operator, likely prepping for the next shot. The desert landscape is probably meant to represent Riddick's home planet, Furya, which the sequel will explore. Riddick Furya is being directed by Pitch Black's David Twohy, and while Diesel has been teasing the fourth film for years, this is the image from Vin himself. The storytelling in the Riddick series has definitely stepped up since Pitch Black, and in the fourth movie, Riddick will finally get to visit his homeworld Furya. In the Chronicles of Riddick, we learned that Furya is a brutal planet where only the toughest survive. In Riddick Furya, Riddick returns to his birthplace, though his memories of it are hazy. While he initially thinks the necromongers are still the main threat, he arrives to find the Furians fighting a whole new danger. Vin Diesel shared a storyboard slide on Instagram showing Riddick in a spacesuit looking shocked, with the caption, "Scene 10, the boy's eyes shine just like Riddick's." This hints that the movie will dive deeper into Riddick's backstory, possibly introducing other characters like him on Furya. The storyboard also suggests we might finally learn more about Riddick's unique eye shine, the ability that helped him survive the terrifying darkness in Pitch Black. So in Riddick 4, we're going to see Riddick with a new power-up, and Vin Diesel teased it himself in an Instagram post, calling it Concept Art and Storyboard Frame from DTN Team. For those who might not know, alongside the wrath of the Furians, Riddick also has this thing called the Furian energy wave. He first uses it in Escape from Butcher Bay and the director's cut of the Chronicles of Riddick. In Butcher Bay, he uses it in a crazy combo with the wrath of the Furians to knock out a bunch of guards. In Chronicles, he pulls it out on some necromonger soldiers trying to capture him. When Riddick focuses and unleashes it, it's like a shockwave that hurts anyone in its path and sends them flying. Riddick didn't fully remember the destruction of his home planet Furya until Chronicles introduced Karl Urban's Vaco and the Necromongers, where he learns more about his tragic past. Like the wrath of the Furians, the Furian energy wave shows up when Riddick's in a tough spot or super pissed off. He can use it pretty easily, but it takes a toll on him over time, even for a tough guy like Riddick. That said, here's something you might not know about Riddick 4. It's skipping over a whole movie. You might remember how the Chronicles of Riddick introduced a lot of the series' backstory, especially through the Necromongers. They were this group of religious fanatics who wanted to either convert everyone or wipe out those who didn't believe in their cause. They also thought the Underverse was a kind of promised land where they'd be reborn. Back in 2013, director David Twohy mentioned in an interview with Screen Rant that he thought there'd be 2 more movies and that the fourth one would follow Riddick on a journey through the Underverse to reach his home planet Furya. He even hinted that it could be a 2-part story. But now, with Riddick 4 titled Furya, it looks like they're skipping the Underverse part and just bringing Riddick back home. This could be because the Riddick films are usually on the cheaper side, and making a big, epic movie about traveling through the Underverse might have been too costly. Even though the theatrical version didn't show it, the extended Blu-ray cut of Riddick had a scene where Riddick was about to head into the Underverse to track down Karl Urban's character Vaco. That scene was probably setting up Twohy's original idea for the fourth movie, but now it looks like the Underverse might just be a quick intro instead. Furthermore, Riddick's creator wants to give the series a real ending. The films have shown Vin Diesel's character evolve from a tough anti-hero to somewhat a bit less of an anti-hero. In the Chronicles of Riddick, he went through some big changes, losing the few people he cared about and learning more about his home planet. Over the course of the movies, we've seen Riddick grow, and there's always been a sense that his story would eventually come to a close. In an interview, director David Twohy mentioned, "It's good that we are looking at ending the series, and that he knows exactly how the last movie will look." Unlike the Fast and Furious films, which always throw a new enemy at Dom and the crew, it's actually nice that Riddick has a planned ending. Skipping the original two-movie idea might even be a good move, since it would have meant reintroducing all the necromonger stuff, which, honestly, a lot of people didn't seem too interested in the first time around. The Riddick films work best as gritty, action-packed flicks, and while the world building is cool, it's never been the main draw of the series. A big question around Riddick 4 Furya is whether it'll truly be the end for the character. Diesel doesn't usually play characters who die on screen, aside from Saving Private Ryan and his role in Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. Riddick has survived some serious injuries that would have taken down most people, but heading back to Furya could present challenges even he's not ready for. In the films, Furya is known as being one of the toughest planets around, with only the Furians' superhuman abilities allowing them to survive there. Since Riddick 4 seems to be wrapping up the series, there's a chance he won't make it out alive. That said, if we took a look at Diesel's track record, he's not one to go for such a dark ending. Fast and Furious isn't as grim, but the fact that characters like Letty and Han keep coming back due to fan demand shows that Diesel likes to keep things a bit more hopeful. So, while Riddick might make some kind of heroic sacrifice to save the Furians, it's more likely he'll have a more positive conclusion to his journey. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Your suggestions for future videos are always welcome in the comments below.